We have a number of speakers here today. I'd like to thank you all for coming. Mr. Doug Kern from the Presidio Restoration Advisory Board. The Presidio Restoration Advisory Board is a federally mandated civilian oversight board that monitors the hazardous waste cleanup at former military installations. We're also joined by Mr. Dan McHenry, Caltrans, and Mr. Craig Middleton from the Presidio Trust. And it's my understanding also that we are joined by Daniel Laforte with the Rec and Park Department, who is here for questions. So why don't we start with Mr. Kern. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. And I'd like to add, too, that it is, I think that we're lucky right now to have both. I'm obviously the district representative for the Presidio in District 2, and we're also joined here by Supervisor McGoldrick, who represents District 1. So needless to say, Mountain Lake Park is well represented in this committee.
Let me just briefly say, first of all, thank you to Supervisor Alioto-Pierre for her leadership on this issue amongst those of us who are supervisors here. I know there is a lot of gratitude to members of the community, and Mr. Kern is about to speak. I know I met with him and had a wonderful meeting about this matter just the last week. But indeed, on a personal level, when I first came to San Francisco, I actually lived in a building that backed onto Mountain Lake Park. I lived at 830 Lake Street for a little while. Yeah, what is now District 2, 32 years ago. And had the pleasure of sleeping on someone's sofa there for 2 months until I had money to send for a ticket for my wife and my first child to come out from the East Coast. But used to look out every morning out onto Mountain Lake, and then when I live, 4 or 5 minute walk now on 4th Avenue by California, and with my children and our dog for about 20 years, we used to go there at least 3 or 4 times a week. So it's a wonderful little park, and we do know, of course, in the history of that park that Ferdinand de Anza first camped there when in 1776, when the discovery of the bay occurred not by sea but by land. And this is not a Paul Revere reenactment, but indeed it was difficult to see that there was a bay because of the mouth opening and the blocking when the ships would tack many, many kilometers or knots or miles off the coast to avoid crashing into the coast because they'd be pulled in. So the blocking of the view, that there was an opening there, now known as the Golden Gate, because the Angel Island filled in that gap, was something that made it difficult for ships, impossible for ships to realize that there was a wonderful bay here. The answer came, and then they camped there for, I think, about 4 days. So it's a very important historical location as well, and I bring that up simply because I know working with Supervisor Alioto-Pierre, one of our solutions here may be to go and look for folks who have some interest in the historical aspects there, who can help us out with the problem that will be described in more detail here, certainly by Mr. Kern and others. At any rate, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Kern.